sit and wait. Does an angel contemplate my fate? And do they know the places where we go when we're gray and old? 'Cause I have been told that salvation lets their wings unfold.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Be seated.
In my bed, thoughts running through my head, and I feel that love is dead. I'm loving angels instead, and through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. When I'm feeling weak and my pain walks down a one-way street, I look above and I know I'll always be blessed with love. And as the feeling grows, she breathes flesh to my bones. Oh, when love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. Forsake me. I'm loving angels instead.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We gather here today to remember the life of Dorothy Elizabeth Wyper, known as Dot, Dottie and Nana Angel. We gather to comfort each other in our time of grief and to honour the life she has led. A life that was full of hope, happiness, laughter and love, through the good times and even in the bad. This is the way we will always remember Dot, that she lived her life as an example to each and every person she met. So on behalf of all Dot's families, I welcome and thank you for being here today as we say farewell to Dot in a loving and meaningful way. My name is Gail Bailey and I have been given the honour to conduct the service today on behalf of the family, and I extend my deepest condolences to you all. In our thoughts today, we would like to acknowledge those family and friends, near and far, who could not be here in person but are here in spirit and in our hearts. We are here today in remembrance of a special person in our lives, and in doing so, we are all aware that our lives are interrelated and composed of many facets from birth until the time of death. Our being here today is yet another meaningful experience of love and friendship for Dot and for her family. We are here also to pay tribute, to remember the good times, the fun times, and I would say probably shed a tear for the sad times about a person who has been a major part of our lives. What unites us also is our common bond of friendship and respect for Dot as we remember and reflect upon her life amongst us. It's a celebration of Dottie's life and what she is to each of us. So your presence here today is very important, for it's the memory of the friends who stood by the family during this time, and it will be a source of strength of comfort to them later on during those inevitable moments of grief and emptiness. During our lifetime, we probably only have a handful of people that come into our lives and give us unconditional love with no restrictions, happiness and pure delight. And by looking around seeing who is here today, I believe Dot would have been one of those people. I was one of those lucky people, had the pleasure of knowing Dot. I will always remember her lovely smile and how happy she was to see you. Even though it had been many years since we'd seen each other, her bright and cheerful personality will be one of my treasured memories. So let us now turn to remember with love and gratitude the life of Dorothy Elizabeth Wyper. Each of you have your own personal memories and the impact of her life that she has had on yours. So now I would like Brett Murphy to lead your thoughts as we recall Dot's life together. Brett, will you come forward, please?
Bit short there, Gail. Well, look at you all. I'm sure that Dot would be very proud of you being so colourful today. She'd be looking down and saying, holy moly, look at that, I can change things with a click of my fingers. I feel very honoured to be doing Dot's eulogy today. 50 years ago, I think Dot and I would have had a bit of a chuckle about that if we knew back in the day. I'd like to welcome, on behalf of Alex, Tonya, Todd and families, we are grateful and humbled to see so many of you here to pay tribute to Dottie, Mum, Nana, Angel. Your love and support means a lot to everyone here. Dot was many things to many people. Generous, loving, inspirational, caring, kind, funny and brave, who has made all of our lives richer simply just by knowing her. Dorothy Elizabeth Lote was born in Townsville on the 19th of April 1956 to parents Ernie and Lily and older brother Tim. She was later joined by siblings Anthony, David, Joanna and Bobby, as well as the family's beloved dog Gypsy. Dot's idyllic life was turned upside down when, aged 2, she was diagnosed with a serious kidney condition that necessitated long, arduous travel to Brisbane for specialist medical treatment. The resulting news was grim. The renal specialist told Ernie and Lily to take her home and give her a good Christmas because she wouldn't see another one. We can't begin to imagine what a devastating blow to her parents that diagnosis must have been. However, nobody told Dot, and didn't she prove that doctor wrong? Dot attended St Joseph's Primary School in Mundubbera until the family moved to Collinsville in 1968 for Ernie's job at the powerhouse. The family moved into a 4-bedroom house in MacArthur Street, where life continued at a hectic pace, as it would with 8 people in the home. Dot's placid nature was often sorely tested by any one of the tormenting brothers, and she would retaliate in an effective manner, hurling coat hangers with great force and accuracy down the hallway, at which tormentor needed teaching a serious lesson. Dot demonstrated the old saying of actions speak louder than words often, and it would be that her later prowess in both bow hunting and archery was nurtured in that hallway. Dot attended Collinsville State High School until year 10 and didn't go any further, as in years 11 and 12 were only offered at the Bowen State High School at that particular time. So she entered the workforce, firstly at Doig's hardware store, George's Pie Shop, Bowen Furniture, Bowen Evans, and lastly the Medical Centre, where she remained for her working life. But who could forget when Dot worked for many years at the telephone exchange? Connecting you now, or that's 3 minutes. Are you extending? Lovely times. If I could just take a moment to explain, before I go any further, about Dot and I. We were lunchtime friends. At that particular time, I was an apprentice mechanic, had long hair down to my shoulders, and I rode a motorbike. And every lunchtime, Dot and I would meet up in the street. Our lunch breaks coincided with each other, and she'd move straight across the street and start walking up the street, saying g'day to everyone that she knew on the way. Somewhere along the way there, she must have had lunch, because I don't know what happened, but she turned and come back down the other side and started work. So, as it was, our meeting point was pretty much across from the hardware store. Dorothy worked with the undertaker, Jack the Malin. He was the local undertaker, old fella. And I remember Dot said to me one day, she said, "I've got to tell you something." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Jack gave me a warning about you." Now, Dot and I were lunch friends. Anyway, I said, "What do you mean?" I thought, "Oh, hello. I've been on my motorbike and he's seen it and he doesn't like that. He's a JP, you know." Anyway, she said, "He said to keep an eye on you and keep away from you because he's a womanizer." I can understand his point, long hair and motorbike. But anyway, every time from that point on, I used to go into the hardware store for many years, and Jack would be a very serious gentleman, and being the undertaker, he'd just take a look at me, and I'd go, "Oh, hell, here we go again." But, yeah, all in all, that was a bit of a laugh at the time. On with my duties. One day in 1971, however, on return from school, her pathway literally crossed with someone who changed the course of her life. The local council were installing new water pipes the entire length of MacArthur Street and had dug deep trenches across the road, making access to home a little difficult. One of that plumbing crew, a handsome young chap, wearing a strikingly large black hat, offered to carry her bike safely across the trench. No information available on how Dot managed to get across, but her bike was pretty well okay. The black-hatted stranger turned out to be Alex Wyper, and soon the pair embarked on what we now know was a lifetime partnership. Dot's days at school Dot's days after school finished... Wow. Dot's days after school finished were filled with work, swimming, bow hunting, and as a very talented seamstress who loved whipping up stylish outfits for anybody who needed one. Her life changed dramatically one day in 1974 when Dot discovered she was pregnant with Tonya. A shock, considering her kidney issues. She was immediately hospitalised on complete bed rest at Townsville General Hospital, 3 hours away from most of her family and friends, for 6 long months. Her sheer determination, positive attitude and bravery sustained her through bouts of homesickness, as out-of-town family could only visit on weekends. On the 13th of July 1974, Dot was granted a leave pass from the hospital to celebrate marriage to Alex at the Monastery Chapel, with a reception at the Swiss Queen's Hotel, then back to hospital. The honeymoon would have to wait. 3 more months in the Townsville General Hospital were endured until the 5th of October 1974. Tonya Jacinta decided it was time to shine and made a dramatic entrance, weighing all of 3 pounds. To say that Dot and Alex were overjoyed at becoming parents would be an understatement, and the family unit thrived under the nurturing instincts. She revelled in all that was being a mum entailed and enjoyed the variety of activities that came along, all the while managing her health issues with a strength of spirit few possess. In the early 90s, Dot discovered the spiritual practice of Reiki, and its philosophy resonated deeply with her. Her studies in this area resulted in her meeting and helping many people from all walks of life. This gave her a sense of peace and purpose, and she continued to practice her selfless nature, always happy to help people who were in need. It was also around this time that her deep love of helping animals began to emerge in practical ways, and a constant stream of rescue animals found their way to Dot and Alex's home. No creature was turned away if she could offer it sanctuary, and we have no doubt she received a rapturous reception from them all when she arrived at the Rainbow Bridge. At 11 p.m. one night in September 1998, a phone call changed Dot's life yet again. A donor kidney had been found, and she was to be in Brisbane by the next morning. The transplant was a wonderful success, and Dot gave daily thanks to the donor family who, in the depths of their despair at losing a loved one, were willing to turn their tragedy into triumph by giving the gift of life to a stranger. Dot became a lifelong ambassador for organ donation and honoured her donor by living her new life with all the joy and determination she possibly could. I just want to read at this time a letter that Dot wrote to Transplant Australia, the Australian Organ Donator Register. Dear Sir, Madam, hello, my name is Dorothy Wyper of Collinsville, North Queensland. I recently competed in my first National Transplant Games, which were held at the Gold Coast. I was delighted to win 3 silver medals in the swimming and a bronze in the 3-kilometre walk all in the veterans category. I have suffered from renal problems since the age of 2 years and lived only with 1/4 of a kidney until about the age of 40. At this time, I started the downhill slide into renal failure. In November 1997, I was started on dialysis and placed on the transplant waiting list. In September 1998, I received the phone call I had been waiting for. I booked on a flight to Brisbane to go to the Princess Alexandra Hospital to receive my kidney transplant. I cannot speak highly enough of the transplant and medical teams at the Princess Alexandra. The gratitude my family and I feel towards my donor and their family for making this difficult decision at a very traumatic time has been my inspiration to compete in the National Transplant Games, thus enabling me to be chosen in the Australian team. We have 35 athletes from Queensland, and I am one of 4 from North Queensland. I have chosen 5 swimming events. The main aim of the Games is to raise awareness of the need for organ and tissue donation and to express our gratitude to our donor and their families. Dot's sporting activities kicked into high gear and she began training in earnest, especially in swimming and archery. She easily made new friends at the various competitions she attended, competing at state, national and international levels and earning numerous medals at every event she took part in. She competed at the National Transplant Games in Geelong, Gold Coast, Perth, Canberra and Adelaide, and internationally at the World Games held in France, Canada and Sweden. Her sporting achievements did not go unrecognised, and she was selected to carry the baton for the Queen's Baton Relay in 2006 for the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne. She was also chosen as the Whitsunday Sportsperson of the Year twice, in both 2003 and 2005. She took great joy from having one of her precious grandchildren by her side when she competed. Callum in Adelaide, Riley in Canberra and Bridie in Melbourne. A loud and proud cheer squad, I'm sure, as were all of us who cheered her on from home. Despite her incredible achievements, Dot was genuinely humbled when she received praise from anyone and always managed to turn any conversation back to whoever she was talking to. She never complained, never grumbled out loud, always more interested in what was happening in your life and how you are. She was gracious in her success, supportive of others, always up for a challenge or an adventure, and possessed a delightfully wicked sense of humour. Her tremendous inner strength saw her through some difficult life challenges such as 6 months enforced bed rest and later the loneliness and discomfort of long days spent on dialysis at the Townsville General Hospital. Dot's spirit bloomed even more when she became a Nana, and as her grandchildren named her Nana Angel. She revelled in being with them and was in her element, teaching them, telling them stories, spoiling them, and she loved them fiercely, proudly, deeply. Her happiness knew no bounds when she became a great-grandmother to Preston, Cadence and Lincoln, and she was anxiously awaiting the arrival of her fourth great-grandchild, Baby Bean, later this year. Dot's hobbies in later years, apart from spoiling the grandies and the great-grandies, was reading, especially animal stories, watching Netflix, her beloved rescue animals, and lately discovered the joys of TikTok. Dorothy Elizabeth Wyper loved life to the fullest, seizing every moment she was given, and a joyous smile and loving spirit will never be forgotten. She passed peacefully on the 26th of June at Mackay Base Hospital, and her family would like to sincerely thank and acknowledge the many dedicated medical staff who looked after Dot over the years. Dr. So and the girls at Collinsville Medical Practice, as well as the nursing staff at the Collinsville Hospital, Mackay Base Hospital staff on Ward Geo, who showed so much love and care during her time there, Dr. Wu and the renal team at Mackay Base Hospital and Nelson Street Renal Unit team for the love and care you showed Dot over the years. Thank you also to the ambulance staff at Bowen, Collinsville and Mackay, the RFDS and nurses, and the rescue helicopter CQ staff. All of us have been touched by some aspect of Dot's life, a ripple effect of her love that each of us will treasure. We all have a lasting, special memory of her, and she will be missed more than she will ever know. When you leave here today, honour Dot wherever you can. Remember Dot and choose kindness. Rest in peace.
As Brett has already stated, on behalf of Alex, Tonya and our family, I'd like to thank everyone who has come here to celebrate Dot's life today. As you know, this lady goes by many names, and even in our family, so as well as Dot, Dorothy, Willis, Mum, Nana Angel, and my favourite, the Mother Outlaw. I actually asked if I could get up here and talk today. It was as it will be the only time I get to have the last word. We were actually joking around one night, and we agreed that I'd do it. I just wasn't expecting it to be so soon. On a personal note, Dot and I, we had to learn to get on real early in the piece. Tonya was up in Townsville, we'll say, getting a bit of surgery. And we were living out at Dot's mum and Lily and her stepdad Pete's place. Callum hadn't quite turned 3, so our daily journey, we'd go in and see Tonya in the hospital. We'd take Callum to the pool or try and get him to the movie or something to keep him occupied. Obviously, with Dot, you got to go and do a bit of shopping. And then we'd head back out to Lily and Pete's where we'd go and we'd cook dinner. Because Lily and Pete were still both working back then. And obviously it was the least we could do, letting us stay there. We'd then normally have a good old argument with Pete over who was going to do the dishes. And then one of us would head back into town to see Tonya that night. This went on for 3 weeks. So if you want to check and see if you have a good relationship with your mother-in-law, live in each other's pocket for a month, you'll soon find out. Generally speaking, but Dot was a pretty good mother-in-law. And also our family counsellor. So on a few occasions, I've gone to her to consult in her and to get her opinion. The conversation would normally start off with, you know your daughter's got issues, don't you? Which she would grin at and say, yeah, I'm sure it's only her. Like people around Collinsville and Bowen would know Dot as a telephonist, furniture dealer, doctor's receptionist. But to a lot of people outside of these areas, she was just Nana Angel. So actually that's a lie. She wasn't just Nana Angel to our 3 kids and 3.5 grandkids. She was Nana Angel to every kid who lived in Bohenia Street out in Thierry. Every kid at a swimming carnival, every kid at the footy grounds on a Saturday. Some of the parents used to come up and ask what her real name was because they only ever knew her as Nana Angel. Now, Dot would cry at the drop of a hat. If she was watching a kids' movie, or she heard that someone's pet had died, she would tear up, even if she didn't know the animal or the people. It was just sad. But if you got into a disagreement with her, there would not be a tear in sight. We would cop her famous, get over yourself. I would get, shut up, you big bastard. It was over the phone, wait till I see you. The rest I can't say due to censorship laws, but Most of that was aimed at Alex. Now, I'm not sure whether you're aware, but Nana Angel had absolutely no time recognition. When Tonya and I used to travel from Thierry back to Collinsville, whatever day we were going home, we'd get up and we'd start packing the car, trying to get our 3 kids together, 3 dogs that we had as well. And one of our kids would mention the pool or going to the shop. So I'd be ready, or we'd be ready to go, and Dot and the kids would be getting in the car and heading out. That's when time stood still, right? We would ask her when she'd finally got home where they had been. And she'd go, oh, I just got talking to such and such. And then the kids got hungry, so we went to the bakery and I ran into someone else. And, you know, we would say, you know, we got a 4-hour trip, which would be answered with, get over yourself. She genuinely did not care. Right, there is one thing that some of you wouldn't know about Dot, is that she was a big drinker. Okay, it's true. Alex and I would be having a quiet beer, and Dot would decide she felt like a shandy. One of us would grab her glass and put about 10 drops of beer in it, and she'd fill it full of lemonade, which had to be Kirk's, because it tasted the best. Right, later on in her drinking days, she found a taste for guava cruises, right, again, which she mixed with Kirk's lemonade. If she really wanted to get on it, right, really wanted to get on it, thanks, she would fill the glass all the way up to quarter full, then add a lemonade. She was such a rebel like that. Dot may no longer be with us in person, but next time I go to do something she doesn't like or maybe doesn't agree with, I'll have a quick look over my shoulder, because you just never know when and where her spirit might turn up. Willis, Mum, Dot, Nana Angel. Our hearts are still hurting and your presence will be missed. Be assured the memories we all created will never be forgotten. We love you.
Morning everyone, I'm Diana, Tim's wife. I first met Dorothy Dot in 1972 in Collinsville at Laney and Keith's Cafe. I hadn't been in town long and Dot was the first person our age to make me feel welcome. I couldn't believe that Dot would later become my sister-in-law. I didn't know that Dot was Tim's sister till just before we were engaged. When we had our daughters, Tonya and Helen, we'd been in Bowen pushing our purple prams with our cute girls. We were often stopped and asked if they were twins. We'd say, no, cousins. I could go on about good times with Dot, but it would take too long. 50 years of good memories. Thank you, Dot.
Hi everyone. Most of you know who I am. For those who don't, I'm Tim. I'm Dot's older brother. Now I'm going to go through my speech, which I've prepared, and it's probably going to breeze over some of the things that Brett brought up and said, but I'll carry on anyway. I was told I had to keep this short and sweet. But with a sister like her, it'll be a bit hard, but I'll try. And as Brett said, on the 19th of April 1956, me being an only child, Mum gave me the most beautiful present ever, my baby sister. She went on to give me 4 more siblings, but Dot and I were very special because where we lived in Oakenvale, there were no other kids our age, and we grew very close. Now, Dad was in the railway, and he used to go out to Mount Isa, and it was a bit like fly in, fly out. He'd be home for 4 days, away for 7, home for 7, away for 7. So, because there was only Mum, myself and Dot, or Dorothy Elizabeth as she was known, we'd be in the house. I was given the privilege and the honour of helping Mum with Dot. That meant changing nappies, bathing her, dressing her, giving her Far-Ex and cereal and all that sort of stuff, and all the veggies, and her bottles. Now, for me, she had this beautiful smile, a cute little giggle, and a beautiful grin. Now, she was like that right up until 1957, through the middle of 57 when she was 1.5, and she had this joy of just being a smiley little child. Now, she was just about 2, but she couldn't walk down the steps, but we taught her to turn around and go down backwards. She didn't. She went down like a slippery slide. And because the house we lived in, what we had, was an old Cobb and Co staging station. And there were always horses, cattle and dogs there for the 50 years previous. Now, Dot would go down and we had a giant clamshell at the front of the house full of water for the dogs and the goats and the chickens and everything else. And she'd get down there and she'd start making mud pies and mud cakes, and eventually she got pretty good at it. She'd come up, okay, have a bite. Yeah, righto, you had to have a bite, but you could see where she'd eaten around herself. Now, the little smile and the little giggles and all that started to go away. Mum said, well, she's very sick. Took her to the local GP, and he did a heap of tests on her. And he called Mum and he said, listen, Mrs. Lote, there's nothing wrong with her from the pies. It's going in and coming out where it's supposed to go. But he said, I think she's got a problem with the kidneys. So he referred her to a Dr. Mortlock in Townsville, who was a renal specialist. But he never dealt with somebody so young. He was normally with teenagers and adults. And he said to Mum, he said, we'll do more tests. So they did another heap of tests and came back and he said, yeah, definitely something wrong with her kidneys. And he said, I don't have the facilities or the knowledge to help her. He said, I'm referring her to a specialist in Brisbane. Now, they went to Brisbane and she came home with the most horrendous scars on her back. They went from her hips to the bottom of her rib cage, and the little smile was starting to go. And the doctor in Brisbane said, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lote, but we can't do anything more for her. We don't have the facilities here. So he referred her to a specialist in Sydney. So Mum and Dot were up and down to Sydney all the time. And every time she came home, she'd have a new scar on one or both sides. And she started losing that cheeky grin and that. She couldn't walk properly because of the pain in her back, and she couldn't jump or skip. So she found a love of swimming. Now, when she had her 3rd birthday in Sydney, the specialist said to Mum, Mrs. Lote, take her home, give her Christmas in July. She won't see Christmas in December. Now, I heard her over Mum and Dad talking the night, and Mum said, after all the palaver, she said, that's not happening to my bed, my baby. And so the next day, she dressed me up for walking. Anthony went into the pram and Dot went on her hip because she couldn't even walk up the road to go to the bus. She went back to saw Dr. Mortlock, and she said, this is what's happened. I'm not going to stand here and watch my band die. We've got to do something. And he said, well, I've never treated babies this small. So he gave her a script for tablets and he said, take these home, give her a quarter of a tablet. and she's going to be on a quarter of a tablet for a while. And if, and he emphasised, if this works, she'll be on these tablets for the rest of her life. Well, she saw Christmas, 1969, 1970, 1971. Oh, sorry, 59, yeah. And she proved them all wrong, as Brett said, and she just blossomed. Loved her swimming, absolutely loved it. And then as the years rolled on, we went to Collinsville, and prior to that, everybody only knew her as Dorothy or Dorothy Elizabeth. We got to Collinsville, and of course they changed it. She became Dottie. And she had a little bit of a mean streak, and as Brett said, she had a bit of a setup going. Anthony and I used to tease her mercilessly. 4-bedroom house, Dot and Joe in the back, David and Robert halfway down, Anthony and myself at the front, and we'd get away from her, and sometimes she got us with a coat hanger, sometimes she didn't, and we'd be in the bedroom out on my desk out the window down the creek. And one day when I was big enough, I was leaning against the door to stop her coming in, and I heard this thunk. What the heck's that? And gingerly opened the door, and there's a coat hanger sticking out of the door. Pulled it out, there's this perfect little rectangle hole. Mum came home, she said, "Righto, you lot, what the heck's going on?" And all three Pinocchios, me, Dot and Anthony, "We don't know, Mum. We don't know how that happened." She never told Mum until she was in late 20s or early 30s what actually happened. So Anthony and I got into trouble over that. I think David took over after we left home. And again, years rolled on, and she came home, and this little pink Cortina. "Who's that?" "Oh, just a friend," she said. But, as Brett said, their love blossomed, and Dot had to go to Townsville for her checkup. She had to go every 6 months for a kidney. Now, she went up, had her tests, and they were all sent to the doctor. Her specialist up there was Dr. Peter de Jersey. And he said, "Dorothy, I'm going back. Your past 4 tests have been good, except for your creatinine, and we've got that under control. These are all out of whack." And she said, "Maybe it's because I'm pregnant." He nearly died. He said, "You can't have a baby. You can't have a baby. It'll kill you. You've got a quarter of a kidney. We're going to have to take the baby off you." And Dorothy sat there. I can't remember if it was Alex or Mum who took her up, but she said to Dr. Peter de Jersey, "This miracle baby of mine and Alex's, nobody's touching. Nobody." And that was her own language, which I can't use here. And as Brett said, because of her kidney problems, she was into the hospital, and they kept her, and they continually modified her medication. And on the 5th of October 1974, we got the phone call that Mrs. Dorothy Elizabeth Wyper had given birth to a beautiful blonde baby girl. Now, they kept them in Townsville a little while to make sure they both survived coming back to the back blocks of Collinsville. And I went round to see her the next day after she got home, and there's her pram. Dot was under the house washing or hanging, clothing, I don't know. And I looked in that pram, and it was like back to 1956 and 57. This beautiful little TJ was like Dorothy, same silly grin, same beautiful smile, same little giggle. And I said to Dot then, "This is no TJ, this is a little Dottie." And, well, kiddo, you came, you saw, you conquered, you astounded doctors, you baffled everybody else, and everyone you met, you treated with respect and love. And that's why we're pretty packed here. So, kiddo, rest in peace. We'll love you till the end of our days. Sleep tight. Love you, sis.
For those who'd like to share their memories of Dottie, you're invited to do so after the service at the get-together at the Larrikin Hotel. May we now take a moment as we reflect and remember with the family Dot's life and what she meant to each of us while we were listening to the songs When We Were Young by Ardell and Calling All Angels by Train.
Everybody loves the things you do, from the way you talk to the way you move. Everybody here is watching you, 'cause you feel like home. You're like a dream come true. But if by chance you're here alone, can I have a moment before I go? 'Cause I've been by myself all night long, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we're scared of getting old and made us restless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. I was so scared to face my fears. Nobody told me that you'd be here. And I swear you moved overseas. That's what you said when you left me. You still look like a movie, you still sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad of getting old and made us restless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. When we were young, when we were young, when we were young, when we were young. It's hard to admit that everything just takes me back to when you were there, to when you were there. And a part of me keeps holding on, just in case it hasn't gone. 'Cause I still care. Do you still care? It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. When we were young, when we were young, when we were young, when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad of getting old and made us restless. Oh, I'm so mad I'm getting old, it makes me reckless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song.
sign to let me know you're here. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. I need to know that things are gonna look up, 'cause I feel us drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. And there is no place safe and no safe place to put my head when you can feel the world shake from the words that I said. And I call it all angels. And I call it all you angels. And I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. I need a sign to let me know you're here, 'cause my TV set just keeps it all from being clear. I want a reason for the way things have to be. I need a hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me. And I call it all angels. And I call it all you angels. When children have to play inside so they don't disappear, while private eyes saw marriage lies 'cause we don't talk for years. And football teams are kissing queens and losing sight of having dreams. In a world where what we want is only what we want until it's ours. And I call it all angels. And I call it all you angels. And I call it all
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to read you this poem that has been chosen by the family. It's called The Fallen Limb. A limb has fallen from the family tree. I keep a voice that says, "Grieve not for me. Remember the best times, the laughter, the song. The good life I've lived while I was strong. Continue my heritage, I'm counting on you. Keep smiling and surely the sun will shine through. My mind is at ease, my soul is at rest, remembering all how I truly was blessed. Continue traditions, no matter how small. Go on with your life, don't worry about falls. I miss you all dearly, so keep up your chin until the day comes we're together again." Today, you recall the experiences, the relationships and the stories we've shared today, and you'll always remember Dottie as one of the true human angels. She was motherly, gracious, non-judgmental, and had a smile and a chat for everyone. She didn't like anybody fussing about her. Life was not about her. It was always about someone else. Dot was a lover of animals, especially the strays, and would always say, "You can feed yourself, they can't." Nana Angel could see no wrong in the grandchildren and would always say, "All our grandchildren have angel wings. Sometimes they're just folded down." Dot and Alex's anniversary is on the 13th of this month. They would have been married 48 years. So today we farewell Dot. You can take satisfaction that she has been and still is a part of your life. She truly was touched by an angel. And each and every one of you will have a memory of Dot, which I'm sure that you will cherish forever. I'd like to read this quote by Leo Buscali. "I know for certain that we never lose the people we love, even to death. They continue to participate in every act, thought and decision we make. Their love leaves an indelible imprint on our memories. We find comfort in knowing that our lives have been enriched by having shared their love." At the conclusion of the service, Alex and family would like you all to join him here at the chapel for tea and coffee and cake, and then afterwards to the Larrikin Hotel, and that's where you will continue with your memories of Dot together. So for those who wish to do so, please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them those trespassed against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the family, followed by friends, to take this opportunity to pay your last respects and say farewell to Dot. There are flower petals to put on the coffin if you wish to do so. And then can we please remain seated after placing of the rose petals for our committal.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. It may be empty, oh, and weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. So tired of a straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. Storm keeps on twisting, keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. Don't make no difference. Escape one last time. It's easier to believe in this sweet madness, all this glorious sadness that brings me to my knees. In the arms of the angel, fly away from this dark, cold hotel and the endlessness that you feel. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. In the arms of the angel, may you find some comfort here. You're in the arms of the angel, may you find some comfort here. I call you, I need you, my heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild. You come to me, give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. And it can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Tears apart. Baby, I would rather be dead. In your heart's in the start of every night and every day. In your eyes, I get lost, I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I could be in no better place. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I ever met. Ooh, I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Oh, tears apart. No, no, no.
Well, everyone, the time has come for our final farewell. May we all please be standing. We give thanks to Dorothy for the person she was and for the influence she has had on your life. We thank her for everything she meant to us, for the time we spent with her. We remember her smile, her frown, her courage and strength. We remember the times you laughed and the times you cried. The tears you cry here today are of love, and it is with this love that we tenderly and reverently commit the body of our beloved one and friend, Dorothy, to the purifying light. We are grateful for the life that has been lived and for all that life has meant to us. We are glad that Dorothy lived. We are glad that we saw her face and felt the pressure of her hand. We cherish the memory of her words and deeds and character. We cherish the memory of her family life, her concern and care, her vitality and involvement, especially in conversation, of her loyalty to her friends, her place in history. We cherish her friendship and, most of all, her love. Dorothy, go forth from this world knowing that you are loved beyond measure, that you will be missed more than words can say, that you will be remembered and cherished, and that love will never end. We will hold you close within us, and there you will remain, to be with us throughout our lives until we meet again. And as we now hold your memory in our hearts and send you on her final journey, may you forever rest in peace with the certain knowledge that our love goes with you. Dorothy, may you rest with the angels now. To Alex and all the families, my deepest sympathies are with you in your time of grief. I hope that you can find reassurance in the care of your friends and allow the loving memories you have of Dot to help you through this time. And to you all, our hearts and thoughts are with you during this time of sadness. Please know that you're not alone in remembering a truly wonderful person that meant so much to so many. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming today. May we now give our support and friendship to the family, and may you find strength in your love for one another, and may you find peace in your hearts. May we please be seated while we listen to the song Rhythm of Our Heart by Rod Stewart, which the family have chosen to end this service today.
Across the street, the river runs. Down in the gutter, life is slipping away. Let me still exist in another place, running on the cover of a helicopter plane. Flames are getting higher in effigy, burning down the bridges of my memory. Love may still be alive, somewhere, somewhere, where they're down and only dear 100 steel towns away. Oh, the rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with the words I love you rolling off my tongue. light it up, light it up, light it up. I can still feel a touch of your thin blue jeans. Running down the alley, I got my eyes all over you, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, the rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum. With the words I love you rolling off my tongue. No, never will I roam, for I know my place is home. Where the ocean meets the sky, I'll be sailing. I'll be sailing. I got lightning in my veins, sweating like the hangover slot machine. Love needs to exist in another place. I'm just yanking back the handle, no expression on my face. The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum. With the words I love you rolling off my tongue. Oh, never will I roam, for I know my place is home. Where the ocean meets the sky, I'll be sailing. The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum. With the words I love you rolling off my tongue. No, never will I roam, for I know my place is home. Where the ocean meets the sky, I'll be sailing. The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum. The words I love you rolling off my tongue. Never will I roam, for I know my place is home. Where the ocean meets the sky, I'll be sailing.
Thank you, everybody. This concludes our service today.